What's going on, everyone? My name is JX, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have the new month's event quest breakdown, X-Men Last Word. This is a really exciting event quest, obviously based on the Extra Swords event from obviously the comics that we just had not too long ago, and obviously that we had teased through the obviously the narrative roadmap tease. So we kind of knew what event quest it was going to be, at least the source material, and from there I kind of guessed, oh, it's going to be a Mega Sentinel and Catherine Britton, Betsy Braddock, which apparently a lot of people didn't see coming, but honestly, Catherine Britton was a big part of it. This is obviously what we have for the event quest, and then obviously this is Mark Brooks's art, so a little bit quite different than what we had in the comics. But with Caban, we see source material quite really spin on top of its head. So she's like the Black Panther event. We had Killmonger with the Infinity Claw and his champion Thor Ragnarok. I mean, it was pretty insane, right? So don't ever bet on the source material being 1-to-1 to what we have in the contest, because Caban always do a really fun spin on it. And for this event quest, I generally think you don't have to read Extra Swords. This is really quite different. It almost really is an Extra Swords event, but in the same sense of you have these one champion versus another champion in really a gauntlet. That's pretty much the premise of this event, and we're going to get into this. It's a little bit longer than usual. I love the X-Men. They're my favorite team, so I always try to get these details and stuff from the comics, because there's quite a few from the Marauders, as well as just previous events, especially the Nimrod event. I think if you have to read any event from the previous stuff, the Nimrod event is definitely the one. That heavily teased a Mega Sentinel, nanite mutant host to become a pure Sentinel being. That's pretty much what Omega Sentinel is, and obviously Nimrod synergy itself just teased Omega Sentinel, right? So yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting event quest, and obviously we have these different factions. With the Grandmaster, it's gonna be quite interesting because let's just get right into it. All right, in a rare break from the frantic action of the battle realm, the summoner finds himself free to wander the realm's expanses. It almost sounds like CGR's intro, right? For Slayer God's intro, right, from that motion comic. Wandering aimlessly, and against the odds, we actually find Kitty Pryde, who shows up, and she's saying, "Hey, weird to see you here. Not that you're weird." She stumbles on her words, which is pretty cute. Sorry, I've been Space Kid that ever since the Nimrod stuff a couple months ago. I thought some time alone would help, but I just can't stop thinking about Krakoa and Xavier and how sick I am of just their lies and secrets. It's like the 5th time I'm screaming to the void. She just straight up screams into the void, which is so relatable. Don't get me wrong, Summoner. I'm grateful for everything stopping Nimrod as well. I couldn't have done it without you. But hearing the stuff they've done, it's just leaving a bad taste in my mouth. We've had to stop this war. We've stopped a war this time, but a final showdown just feels inevitable. So yeah, so that event quest was interesting because she basically was framed for. I think she blew up some type of supply thing for Akaba, for the clan Akaba in Araco, and that wasn't her. It was a shape-shifting, basically a Sentinel, right? It was someone who looked just like her but wasn't her, and it almost started a war between Araco and Krakoa, because obviously you have someone who's part of the Krakoan under the Krakoan, and then you go onto your enemy's lands and then destroy something, right? But obviously it wasn't her, but it almost started a war. Excuse me, we're having heart to heart here where the Blue Man groupie shows up. So obviously, Blue Man group, obviously they're like a Vegas act, just men in blue paint on their skin. Obviously, you get it. So she said that she's sent here from the Grandmaster, and he shows up and he's saying, "Hey, I need your cooperation because, hey, we have this mutant problem to deal with," which is funny because she responds saying, "No, I think we have an Elder of the Universe problem," which I totally agree with. Even though I want to see more Elders, because obviously this whole Conch Champions is based off the Elders. This is the 7th battle, the Conch Champions. We have previous Conch Champions besides the first one that we don't know about, which eventually I hope hope we get some stories on. But anywaysly, he's saying, "I can't tolerate this, that Karina, my niece, obviously has sent me here to deal with this." And obviously, why would the Grandmaster be saying her by Karina, you're probably asking. If you don't catch up, if you have not seen Act 6, the cutscene, actually, sorry. This is it. Obviously, she Karina, sent her dad and her uncle away to deal with the problems because they've been bickering and fighting each other ever since they've taken over each other's seats as the leader of the contest. And now it's Karina's turn to take over, and she is way more powerful than them, and she sends them off to deal with their problems. And we really haven't seen the Collector. We've seen the Collector, but we haven't seen the Karina since. Or, sorry, the Grandmaster. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. They're saying we need to resolve between Xavier's Krakoa, Apocalypse's Clan Akaba, and Magneto's freshly minted Brotherhood of Mutants. So Krakoa, since Professor Rex has joined the game, we've had the Krakoan age and Krakoa as an actual place, even a background in the game. And obviously with Apocalypse Clan Akaba, which if you don't know what when I say Akaba, it's kind of different because I think when Clan Akaba first was a thing, it was during the Age of Apocalypse, which is a whole nother timeline universe created by Legion, who accidentally went back in time and killed his dad, Professor X, which caused basically a huge timeline change, and basically Magneto rules the world. And that his whole bloodline was called Clan Akaba. Well, in the new comics, especially with House of X and Powers of X and everything that's followed the Krakoan Age, we have actual Arakko, basically the sister, the sibling island of Arakko. Is once Arakko and Krakoa were one big island, but they split off, and basically Apocalypse's family was basically trapped there, and this is kind of like we had the Swords of X event. And on one side it was Krakoa, and on this side it was Arakko, and so those are all the Arakkan champions, and they are so badass. You have the 4 horsemen in the front, which just look amazing. I would love to see an Arakko champion come to the game. The Genesis, Death, War. I mean, dude, they look so cool. The White Sword. Oh man, Summoner too. I mean, it'd be hilarious to have Summoner who summons things, and then us, the actual Summoner, summoning the Summoner. You know what I mean? It would be pretty funny. Iska's in there as well. They are pretty damn cool. But for the contest, it kind of just seems like we have Apocalypse has Arakko, but only really Pyramid X Storm from Marvel Realm Champions as a part of his clan. It's kind of hard to say, and with Marvel Realm Champions ending, we don't really know what's to come of it. And there he has a whole bunch of... he has Psylocke actually a part of it, just like the comics, he has a whole different bunch of horsemen there. So it's pretty interesting to see what we'll get once it comes closer to the next one event. And obviously Magneto's minted Brotherhood of Mutants, that's what we got in January with Toad and Sauron. The red Magneto is leading them, and then the white Magneto, House of X Magneto, is with Charles, and they're leading Krakoa together along the Quiet Council. So he's like, the Grandmaster's like, we're getting a tournament going on. He loves his games, right? He's called the Grandmaster. He loves his games. And basically he wants it to, whoever wins is going to be the one true leader of mutant kind. A tournament resolving around you, Summoner. And we're like, what? What do you mean resolving around me? And so Captain Britain shows up. He's saying, you're leaving out some key details, Grandmaster. How dare Rudami, Summoner, allow me to introduce my associate, Captain Britain, which is pretty cool if you don't know. Obviously, Captain Britain, she's about to explain, was actually Psylocke. So Psylocke that we have in-game is the X-Force Psylocke, the body of Quainon, but the mind of Betsy Braddock. And the Grandmaster, actually, when he first entered the contest, he brought in X-Force to deal with the mutant thing. And it was really cool. We got, obviously, Archangel, Psylocke, and Iceman. And Iceman, they were basically trying to mind control. Psylocke was trying to mind control Iceman to unleash his Omega level powers, and he basically froze Battleworld, which actually Marvel Realm Champions takes place on, and it was pretty insane. But now I'm back here with my own body, and I can belong with my powers and with a brand new job, Captain Britain. So obviously, if you've read the comics, or if you've been a true Marvel fan for these last years, you'll know that Brian Braddock was Captain Britain, and he actually passed the mantle on to her not too long ago, and she's been Captain Britain ever since, and it's been pretty dope. Now I'll be helping Karina's council manage Battle Realms affairs, starting with preventing an open war between the mutant and the contest. Thank you for your lovely intermission. Now time to go to my main event. He's like, I don't care, bro. I want this game going on now. The participant parties will choose a single champion to fight you, Summoner. So obviously, like the X-Swords event, right? You have one Arakkan champions versus one Krakoan champion, and then all the points tally up. But this one is quite different. It's whoever is one champion just versus us. Seems kind of unfair if you ask me, right? We have to go through a gauntlet while they have to only do one fight. Anyway, so best first in the full support of Korea's council and official recognition as the representative of all mutants. It still kind of feels a little bit shady, but whatever. Miss Braddock is here to act as an impartial observee to my little tournament of mutants. All final judgments will be rendered by myself, and while there are very few rules, breaking any of them will mean terminal qualification. Yeah, so in the actual Swords event, we had I forgot her name. It starts with an S, but she's from Otherworld, and she's like the leader of Otherworld. And basically, she had like these things like if you break the rules, you're out, right? You're disqualified. And it was pretty interesting because it seemed like the whole tournament was stacked against Krakoa, but at the end of it, it didn't really matter, which was pretty awesome. All right, Hello Battle Realm, it's good to see you back in the champion. So he basically teleports us to, I think, the Galactorum, which is like a huge arena, and it's been around for centuries. It's where Aegon... actually, I think... Yeah, anyways, it's been around for a while, and it has like these seats that go all around the arena, and I'm guessing there are apparently millions of mutants watching, which would be amazing to watch in like a motion comic. I think motion comics are done right now. They're only just these champion announcement videos, which are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but you know, love to see when the story affects it. I shall be the first there test their metal elder. Okay, here we go with Magneto. Okay, I don't interesting, a little interesting. I don't know how to say out of character, but I shall be the first to test their metal elder. Stand aside and see what a true mind of a mutant looks like. Whispers, metal. Was that a dad joke? Did Dark and Dignity Dave write this dialogue? What's happening? Xavier lacks the silly constitution to make hard calls. Apocalypse Iron Resolve is too inflexible for battleground politics. Whisper, does he even know he's making them? Summoner here today. It'll be Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants who forge our new destiny. Forge metal, you know, which is pretty funny. So yeah, like I said before, the Brotherhood of Mutants, they are actually led by Red Magneto, and obviously White Magneto is with Xavier, but obviously he's making some dad jokes, which is interesting. I actually think like White Magneto would make these because White Magneto in the comics. He's more compassionate now. It's really cool. He's more not really evil Magneto anymore, and he's got like this almost like he does say these jokes, not really dad jokes, but it's a little bit out of character for Red Magneto, but for White Magneto, it kind of is in character, which is pretty funny. All right, moving on. Basically, Kitty Pryde's like saying we dodged a bullet if Magneto was still in charge, which yeah, since he joined the battle realm, he's had like these drastic decisions to destroy, especially when the Terra Genesis events was going on. He like blew up I think the collector's ship. It was pretty interesting. I volunteered to fight on behalf of Krakoa. Phoenix shows up, which is pretty interesting because we don't really see Phoenix with the mutants besides the Terra Genesis events, where she burned all the Terra Genesis and then she became an ISO 8 Infinity Stone, the Evolution Stone, and then after that, Dark Phoenix only returned for the Killmonger event, and I don't think she's been in an actual event since. But regular Jean Phoenix barely showed up either. She only showed up, I think, a few times, but never really that much story-wise. She just shows up. It's usually we get Jean Grey. If you don't know, we actually have Jean Grey in the game, and she's really this NPC to act like Jean Grey. But for this, it's kind of interesting because we're getting Phoenix, but I really think of her as Jean Grey, even though we have Jean Grey in the game. But because we have to fight this character as a champion, she's going to be Phoenix because we can't fight this NPC Jean Grey yet. Hopefully, man. I love Jean Grey, dude. She's amazing. Always a character I've wanted to add in the contest. Or, I mean, she's already in the contest, but a character I'd want to see playable in the contest. But yeah, so she's saying, I've come here with the Quiet Council of Krakoa, decided to send me as their champion. The Grandmaster saying, I was expecting Drama Child, but not a soap opera. Okay, I think this is a little tease to last month's side quest where we had Spider-Ham and he had like this soap opera for Mojo. He was writing and directing it. It was pretty terrible. I'm kidding. It was pretty funny. And then actually we see Omega Sentinel in the shadows. I always love seeing characters in the shadows, and especially like her dark red glowing metallic eyes, and her like it looks pretty sick. And she's like, you know, fight each other, squabble, wear each other down, which is very, very in character for her new, really anti-Krakoan age character. No, this is pretty cool. So there's like a Captain Britain. She's saying, Kitty Pryde is like, why is Phoenix doing this? I think, and Captain's like, hey, I think they're following his dream. They're following Xavier's dream, but they're making it their own. You know, they're really fighting for they're really fighting for this dream that all mutants will know peace and live in paradise for free. And I think that's what we're fighting for, don't you? And I really like this. I love X-Men. They're my favorite in Marvel. My favorite character, Legion, especially now in this Krakoan age, is really is fulfilling his father's dream of making this paradise and making sure nothing goes wrong. Because, hey, the mutant kind has been really oppressed, beaten down, sometimes executed, some in the future, enslaved. It's pretty terrible, and it sucks because they never really got this future. It's just they're constantly fighting against, trying to fight for equality, but it's so hard because other people don't believe in you. And so now with the Krakoan age, it's like, hey, we're gonna try something different, and we're gonna make our own mutant nation, and it's so awesome to see. But it does seem, especially when we had the Nimrod event, it seems like they're gonna doom themselves eventually, which does suck. But like my favorite character, Legion, he's kind of helping stop this from happening, because Professor X and House of X Magneto are really, they're going down a dark path, and it's gonna ruin them one day. But hopefully, everyone else, Nightcrawler and Legion, can come together and hopefully, fix it, fight for Krakoa and make sure they don't doom themselves. Apocalypse shows up. He's saying, hey, I am the great Ensaber Nur, the great Apocalypse. I lead Clan Akaba because I am the strongest and wisest and most powerful. He's always boasting about himself. When you're the oldest mutant, arguably the oldest mutant, besides Namor, you're gonna say that, right? You're gonna boast about it yourself. And Apocalypse at some point is like insanely powerful. In this game, and especially in the not the MCOC comics, in the newest comics, he really isn't as powerful as he used to be. He's kind of even said himself he's not as powerful. But it's definitely cool because he used to be crazy powerful. But hey, the most powerful mutant we all know is Legion, my boy himself. All right. Anyways, Emma comes up, which is pretty cool. This is my power play. So she's basically saying, "Hey, I'm not a part of nothing. I'm just here for myself and my Omega Academy," which is really cool because the Omega Academy is what she came in with the game since 2018. She started the Omega Academy, and it's been her progressing storyline ever since, which I think is so cool because they could have easily done something else. Because in the comics, she has the Hellfire Trading Club, which in the sense is her Omega Academy in this game. So kind of think of it the same way, which I think is really cool because we're kind of getting this where she's kind of saying, hey, she's focusing on this, right? She doesn't care about anyone else. She's tired of that squabbling, right? And Kitty Pryde is just saying, I don't really belong with Krakoa, and Emma's like, hey, have you considered a career change? Which is pretty cool because in the comics we actually get them together. Them together as in the Marauders comic, where she obviously this is Marauders, Kitty Pryde actually, where she basically starts the Marauders because she can't even enter Krakoa through the gateway, so she creates the Marauders team, not called X something, not called anything like that, because she wants to get away from Krakoa, but she's still helping them. She's basically this outside source helping mutants come to Krakoa, not through the natural means, but through a ship as the Red Queen under the Hellfire Trading Club. And it's really cool because in the comics they finally get this admiration and almost love for each other, and it's really cool because it's this in the comic, this is in the contest now, which I think is so cool. Like, we're actually getting this straight from the Marauders comic, which I really like. But right now she's hesitant. And then Apocalypse is like, hey, I'm the most powerful mutant to ever live, blah, blah, blah. We all know it's Legion. Come on, get out of here. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce Omega Sentinel, a shining example of Sentinels. Nanites merge seamlessly with the human host. Please hold your applause. Exactly what we got in the Nimrod event. Obviously, he was creating these things, and we really, like, Omega Sentinel, all right? So yeah, man, finally in the game. Anyways, calm yourself, Captain. So basically, Betsy Braddock is going crazy. You're not really going crazy, but she's like, hey, if she wins, this is almost like genocide for her and for the entire race of the mutant nation. Because if you don't know, Omega Sentinel wants to destroy the Krakoan Age. And I'll get into that in just a bit. Anyway, she's like, I'm going to go to Karina, basically, and tell on you, which is funny. She's saying, silence, child, brace yourself, summoner, the future has arrived. So this is like straight from Omega Sentinel in the comics just right now. As my dogs are barking. Of course you will, mutant, it's inevitable. After all, we are the future, not you, is what she says. Because basically the future she's kind of a combination of her original Omega Sentinel self and then a future consciousness where she sends herself back in time because in her future the mutants destroy her world, which we kind of got with the Bishop. With the Bishop event where he said that the mutants destroyed the world, enslaved everyone else, and they created the Sentinels to do it. So it's pretty interesting that we kind of have another tease, because this whole comics and MCOC as well are saying like, hey, the mutants are going to destroy themselves, which is so sad to see. Hopefully they can find out. But this is interesting because this is like what I've been talking about, is actually the Grand Master is actually making a great point here. My point was to help educate you all on the fault of your presumptions, your grand plans, and competing agendas. Is like, hey, you're all fighting each other for almost the same thing, not coming together as one mutant nation. You're divided between Arakko, you're divided between the Brotherhood of Mutants, you're divided between the House of X, you're dividing yourselves, you're not working together, because if you all work together, you can change the world, which I've always said, like, you know, it's so cool, because like, if enough people come together, you can change things. You don't have to accept how things are. That's like why you have oppression. Like, you can get rid of oppression if you all come together and stop it, which I love so much. And this is definitely a great lesson. But anyways, we still have Phoenix to fight, and she's basically, hey, can you provide saying, hey, I'm leaving Krakoa and I'm joining the Emma Frost and the Omega Academy, which, like I said, we got in the Marauders comics. So I guess she started the Marauders. I don't know if she started the Marauders in the contest, but it's definitely pretty cool. All right, and so we get to the next event, and basically, you know, we defeated all the champions, but we actually have one more spot left, and we're saying, hey, Captain Britain, what's your plan on all this? I mean, you're really the overseer right here, not the actual overseer, but yeah, she's basically saying, I'm here to serve all of mutant kind. As both a diplomat and a guardian of all people through the battle realm, which I think is really cool. You know, I really like that you're having this character come together to not just serve one part of mutants, all of mutant kind, which is pretty awesome. But now we got to test her might, really. Some Mortal Kombat right there. But yeah, you know, yeah, man, like this is a really cool event. I love this event. I know it's a little bit longer than normal, but thank you guys for coming by. I really love this event. I hope you guys did too. And I want to give a quick shout out to my podcast, Excellent Interviews. We're going to have Kabam Eclipse on the show this weekend, Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. CST. He is a quest designer, and he worked on quite a few quests last year, especially the De Immortalis, the Eternals event, which he's the future of the contest, as well as Safe Haven, last month's event quest. So it's going to be a really fun event, a really fun night. If you want to come by and ask any questions about that, it's going to be really cool. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. I love the lore of this game. We're going to continue it. We're going to have some fun content coming out for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.